Hey everybody, Alan Weber here with Winnie the Pooh. All right, Piglet's about to meet a heffalump. He's sneaked up to the very deep pit a little early so that if there is a heffalump there, he can run home to bed. But he heard a heffalump in the trap, and he is going to look down and see his very first heffalump. He's looking down, and all the time Winnie the Pooh had been trying to get the honey jar off his head. The more he shook it, the more tightly it stuck. "Bother," he said inside the jar, and "Oh, help," and mostly, "Ow." And he tried bumping it against things, but as he couldn't see what he was bumping it against, it didn't help him. And he tried to climb out of the trap, but as he could see nothing but jar, and not much of that, he couldn't find his way. So at last he lifted up his head, jar and all, and made a loud roaring noise of sadness and despair. And it was at that moment that Piglet looked down. "Help, help," cried Piglet. "A heffalump, a horrible heffalump." And as he scampered off as hard as he could, still crying out, "Help, help, a horrible hoffalump, hoff, hoff, a hellable horrorlump, hole, hole, a hoffable hellarump." And he didn't stop crying and scampering until he got to Christopher Robin's house. "What's the matter, Piglet?" said Christopher Robin, who was just getting up. "Heff," said Piglet, breathing so hard that he could hardly speak. "A heff, a heff, a heffalump." "Where?" "Up there," said Piglet, waving his paw. "What did it look like?" Like, it had the biggest head you ever saw, Christopher Robin. A great, enormous thing, like nothing, a huge, big, well, like, I don't know, like an enormous, big nothing, like a jar." "Well," said Christopher Robin, putting on his shoes, "I shall go and look at it. Come on." Piglet wasn't afraid if he had Christopher Robin with him, so off they went. "I can hear it, can't you?" said Piglet anxiously as they got near. "I can hear something," said Christopher Robin. It was Pooh bumping his head against a tree root he had found. "There," said Piglet. "Isn't it awful?" And he held on tight to Christopher Robin's hand. Suddenly Christopher Robin began to laugh, and he laughed, and he laughed, and he laughed. And while he was still laughing, crash went the heffalump's head against the tree root. Smash went the jar, and out came Pooh's head again. Then Piglet saw what a foolish piglet he had been, and he was so ashamed of himself that he ran straight off home and went to bed with a headache. But Christopher Robin and Pooh went home to breakfast together. "Oh, Bear," said Christopher Robin, "how I do love you." "So do I," said Pooh. And that's the end of the chapter of how Piglet met a heffalump. Thanks for listening. We'll read some more tomorrow.